Good evening, everyone. Sorry we're a little bit late, but I hope you are enjoying the race until here. I realize that I'm in the fucking chat. So that's better now. Selecting a party chat when no one's in so we don't disturb these boys racing. So good evening again, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying this race here in our RGL F1 22 season, rounds 11 and 12 upcoming. Right now, we're on lap 5 of 14 in Bahrain. Silvilliers is leading the race in his Mercedes ahead of Casto, Eskimo, Harvey, Alonso, Stroll, Frenzy, Norris, Shermanator and Mick in P10. Followed by Albon, Chinchilla, Verstappen, Gasly, Hamilton, Leclerc and D'Cunha, who's in P17, 34 seconds behind the pack, which means he probably has pitted already. Maybe an incident at the start. We didn't catch that, unfortunately. We're only here since lap 3, I think. And right now we're just catching up on the pit stops that are coming in. Eskimo right now in the pits. Strategy work is there right now. We take a look at the tyre situation. So D'Cunha is on 4-lap all softs, which means he will probably has to pit again. Eskimo on fresh mediums now. Almost everyone on softs. Only Frenzy, Harvey and Casto are on medium tyres right now. 5 laps old each. And the soft runners will now, bit by bit, come into the pit lane because their tyres are giving up. And to be fair, D'Cunha hasn't pitted yet. He's just fallen behind, maybe because of an incident at the start. Again, like I said, we didn't catch that. Penalties, no penalties at the moment. Okie dokie. We have 13 places up by Sevilliers, 15 by Casto, 13 by Harvey. And we have 15 by Eskimo and 13 by Dean Lost. So maybe there was a start incident between D'Cunha and one of the boys up front. Sevilliers with the fastest lap, 131.458 right now. He's still on soft tyres, followed by Casto and Harvey. Big gaps right now between the boys. Shermanator is pretty close behind Lennon Norris, and I think they're both pitting. Yeah, they're both coming in. So let's see who has the better pit stop as Chinchilla almost overtook Shermanator coming into the pits. So it's between Shermanator and Chinchilla in the pit lane now. Lennon Norris out of his pit box, Chinchilla 2. Where is Shermanator? Right in front of Chinchilla, so no position changes here. Stroll, Norris, Shermanator, Chinchilla and Mick all in the pits. Coming out now. And D'Cunha now coming onto the main straight. Trying to catch up. Of course, he needs to pit as well. Because he hasn't done so yet. Oh, Sevilliers with the spin. We just caught him. Is that on the exit in the middle sector after the left-hander? It is. Sevilliers with a big spin, which means Casto passed him and now Harvey also passed him. Big moment for Sevilliers there. He's still in P3, but he lost 2 positions and a big gap to Casto in around 3.5 seconds and another 6 seconds to Harvey here, which means in total 9 seconds, and he's fallen back behind. Casto with the fast lap now. Sevilliers is coming in on lap 8 of 14. His soft tyres were probably screaming at the moment. But yeah, that could have gone better for him, especially with the strategies at play here. Casto and Harvey both on mediums. Sevilliers in the pits, of course. Alonso also pitting right now. And there are more coming in. Albon, Verstappen, Gasly, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc. They're all coming in. What about Eskimo? Already came in, so he's about to overtake a few of those guys now. Up to P6 now. Is that a fight with Alonso? No, he overtakes Alonso in the pits, so P5 for Eskimo now. The gap is only 5 seconds now to Civilius. He's on fresher tyres. Like, not on fresher, but on warmer tyres. As Civilius is still warming up his mediums after the pit stop. Frenzy up in P3. Started on medium tyres. So we only have Casto, Harvey, Frenzy, and Decunha and P17 who haven't pitted yet. I think Decunha is just waiting for a safety car, to be fair. He's still on softs, which means it's desperation mode. But sometimes you just need a little bit of luck to get the strategy going. No DNFs yet, which is very good to see. Also, very close gaps here. Lando Norris in P8, then Shermanator, Chinchilla. Bigger gap to Albon, but then Gasly behind, Verstappen behind. It's pretty close here. But Norris, Shermanator, and Chinchilla, that is a proper fight. And now Shermanator tries to go around the inside. Norris now has the inside. Shermanator needs to let him go. Some good moments of racing here between Lando Norris as an AI and two real drivers in Shermanator and Chinchilla behind. But Shermanator needs to be careful. If he overtakes Norris now, he won't get the DRS. But he was behind. Now he's in front. I think he will have the DRS as he was behind when the detection zone appeared. He has the DRS. And now he needs to be careful of Chinchilla. We jump on board with him. He also has the DRS. Norris doesn't have it. Shermanator low on DRS. What does Chinchilla do? Oh, Norris putting the nose in. Chinchilla behind, clipping Norris a bit. Shermanator with a big moment. His rear end was all over the shops as Chinchilla's trying to attack Norris now with DRS at play. Round the outside, taking a wider line to make it fair, not dive bombing the AI. And that's a beautiful overtake round the outside for P9 for Chinchilla. The top three still out on track. Castro in P1, followed by Harvey and Frenzy. Gap of 6.6 between Castro and Harvey. Is Castro coming in now? No, he's staying out. Harvey in P2, Frenzy in P3, and Harvey is coming in now. What is Frenzy doing? Is he covering Harvey or Castro? To be fair, it's a 10-second gap, so he doesn't need to cover a lot here. But he's staying out for the moment. Decunha in the meantime pitted. So he's again around 24 to 25 seconds behind the pack, unfortunately. Harvey coming out of the pit, Civilius with the fastest lap. He's driving with a lot of anger now. That's just water. I'm not taking a piss. Yellow flag sector 3 as Max Verstappen is out of the race, probably with a mechanical failure. After the last lap, he has not come into the pits, so maybe there could be a safety car because of that. Only a maybe, you never know. Call me maybe. So still yellow flags. As Casto is now coming in for his pit stop, and that is the weirdest shit ever. I hope you've all seen it. And it's not me. I didn't do any drugs, to be fair. Nothing. And I hope it's on stream. Casto in P2 now, behind Frenzy after his pit stop. Where is Harvey? He's just coming down the main straight, and yes, Civilius right behind him. Let's go. In the DRS. But Harvey is on soft tires. That's the big advantage here. Civilius down on ERS, so he used it all to catch up to Harvey, and Harvey is on 65%, so he has the tire and ERS advantage. This will be more than complicated for Sevilla to keep track, to keep it very close behind Harvey here. as Chinchilla and Hamilton having a good old scrap side by side up to turn 4. And Sevilla again around the outside, leaving Hamilton a lot of space on the inside. Very fair driving, and he's doing the same to Lewis that he did before to Norris, I think. Very clean driving by Chinchilla here to make up good positions. Frenzy in the lead right now. Of course, he hasn't pitted yet. He started on medium, so he's also one of them who's desperately waiting for a safety car. But time's running out now. It's lap 12. He's still in P1, so on lap 13 there won't be a safety car, so he can freely pit at the end of this lap. Sector 2 yellow flags. Was I a little bit too early on this one, as Mick has a big issue here. Maybe he was pushed off the track, because now it seems like everything's fine. But we had yellows there for at least a moment. But no safety car, green flags. So Frenzy is now in sector 2, I think. Yep. Making his way up to basically to his pit stop. He has Castro right behind him. The gap to Harvey is 7 seconds. The gap between Harvey and Sevillas is around about a second. I'm surprised that Sevillas can keep the distance and the gap that low to Harvey. So Harvey is still okay. Harvey is not using any ERS, and Sevillas is probably pushing pretty hard as Castro is setting a purple second sector. Of course, he's the quickest car on track right now. He will have the DRS on the main straight now. So if he wants to go for a fastest lap, this might be the lap to execute that one. Fastest lap already, 30 flat for Castro. Frenzy in the pits, and he will probably come out in a P4. But Eskimo is also in the mix here. He's now coming down to the last corner as Frenzy is just leaving his pit box. And Frenzy's on softs, but his tires will be cold for one lap. And Eskimo is coming down that main straight using ERS. He's smelling blood in the water. He sees Sevillas, he sees Frenzy here. The gap is around 4 seconds. But his tires are on good temperature. Frenzy's tires are not. Frenzy needs to warm up his tires. He has more ERS, but normally it should be okay. But if Frenzy feels the pressure and the cold tires are more of a problem than we think right now, this could be tricky. Gap is down to 3.9. Castro still comfortably in the lead, 7.2 the gap to Harvey, who himself now has a gap of 2.6 to Sevillas, and Harvey is now probably attacking for a fastest lap. He's down to 30% of ERS, which means he already used around 30%. He's pushing now for the fastest lap. And we jump back into the fight between Fernando Alonso and Shermanator. Shermanator still on 30% of ERS. Alonso on 68. Sector 1, yellow flags. That is D'Acunha. And Shermanator is pretty close behind Alonso. He wants to have that P6. Alonso is defending. Is Shermanator going for the move around the outside? No. Oh, he almost needs to sacrifice his exit here because Alonso missed the apex a little bit. DRS now at work. Now Shermanator goes for the move against Fernando Alonso for P6 on the main straight. Overtake done, but he still needs to have a little bit of ERS to defend from Alonso on the next straight. Alonso will have the DRS now. Great exit by him. DRS at work, but no ERS. And Shermanator is flashing already. But we jump on board with Castro for the last sector here in Bahrain, on the track that he's been dominating on this night. 14 laps, clinical driving, a little bit of luck, because Sevilla spun, but normally Castro's the one who's spinning, so we can't call it luck. This time we can call it consistency. Also starts with the C. Castro consistency, cunt. No one said cunt. Castro crossing the line for P1 in Bahrain, ahead of Harvey in his Ferrari in P2, going for the fastest lap still. And Sevilla in P3. Castro's going down the order. I think that is a glitch. We can be very sure of that. Frenzy now round the last corner onto the main straight, finishing this race in P4. Castro's now going down the order. Don't be confused by that, as Eskimo has a little problem, and I think the problem is fuel. Eskimo is losing P5 to Shermanator and Alonso because he no longer has any fuel in his car. This is mad. Alonso in P6, Eskimo P7, Norris P8, Chinchilla P9, Albon P10, Gasly P11, Hamilton P12, Charlie Leclerc in P13, Mick in P14, Stroll will finish the race in P15. Cunha will finish now as the last car in P16, and Castro, who's now on P16 on this board, has finished the race in P1. It's just a glitch, so Castro won this race ahead of Harvey and Frenzy. And Sevillas, I think, not Frenzy. We'll have a closer look at the podium now. So it's showing me that Harvey won the race, but we all know that Castro crossed the line in P1. He didn't have a penalty, so Castro in P1, Harvey in P2, and Sevillas in P3, followed by Frenzy in his Alfa Romeo in P4. Here we have our final results. We take a look at Castro, who's down in P16, I think. He finished the race actually in P1. In P2, we have Harvey, followed by Sevillas completing the podium, then Frenzy, Shermanator, Alonso, Eskimo, who lost positions on the last few meters because of a field issue, then Stroll, Norris, Chinchilla, Albon, Gasly, Hamilton, Leclerc, and Cunha. Max Verstappen is our only DNF because of a mechanical failure during this race. So congratulations to Castro and his Red Bull, as we're now heading into a little 5 to 10 minute break, and then we're continuing with race number 12 this season in Austria. I will be off comms for around 5 minutes, so just stay on the stream. We'll continue. There won't be a break in the visuals, so catch you in 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We're now in Austria, in the good old Steiermark. I completely forgot to say, spam the comments if you want to. Like, put in questions, put in comments, put in everything you want. Feel free to do it. There are no rules, only the guidelines by YouTube, but it is what it is. Hopefully, the game doesn't glitch out like it did in Behind with the results when Castor finished in P1 and then got handed back to P17, I think. But if that's the only glitch, then we're almost happy with the game. The drivers now put in the setups for the race. It looks dry. That's good for them around Austria, because in the wet it can be very, very tricky, because the high is a low downforce track, so it's tricky to manage that in the wet. But for now it looks like they all have a good amount of luck here. 5 seconds to go. We then jump on our formation lap. So De Cunha will start in P1, followed by Mick, Leclerc, Hamilton, Gasly, Albon, Gentilla, Norris, Stroll, Eskimo, Alonso, Shermanator, Frenzy, Casto, Sevillas, and Harvey. Verstappen in P17. I'm not sure why Casto starts in front of Sevillas and Harvey, but there must be a reason for that. Let's have a look at the tyres. De Cunha is starting on mediums. I think that's a great choice, because he is starting among the AI, but that could also be a horrific choice, because when the AI on softs have a great launch and your mediums, you might fall behind a bit, and that could cause chaos. But nevertheless, theoretically a great strategy. Mick, Leclerc, Hamilton on softs, Gasly on mediums. Then we have P6 down to P11 all on softs. Then we have Shermanator and Frenzy, both Alfa Romeos on mediums. Casto starting on softs. He wants to make up some good positions in the beginning. Sevillas and Harvey on medium want to play the patience game. And Verstappen in P17 is also starting on soft tyres. We have a big gap between Stroll and Eskimo, who's just having his own pace on the formation lap, now pushing harder to warm up his tyres. It's a valid strategy on the formation lap to keep it going like that. And De Cunha was disqualified from the starting grip positioning here, so that's even worse for him, starting on the harder tyre and having a miserable positioning in his grid slot. Shermanator and Frenzy have the same issue, as now all the cars have parked up. Eskimo also having to face the same one. So it happens, as we're now watching the start. 5 red lights are going out right now, and De Cunha already under attack by Mick and Charles Leclerc. This could be a tricky one. Hamilton, they're all there. Hamilton side by side with De Cunha is falling back to P4 or 3 now. He's in P3 defending from Hamilton. That's like a decent job to do it like that there, have to be honest. And now he's attacking Mick for P2 already. He's defending the inside, pushing Charles Leclerc. Dean trapped behind. And he has to make sure to at least stay in P3 for the moment. Big jump by Casto on the soft. Oh, Dean going down the inside. Good move by him, but Mick is still there. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. They touch, and Mick is pushing through. Dean trying to brake late around the outside, but the softer tyres have the advantage for the moment. Casto already made up 6 positions at the start. Chinchilla losing 5, and De Cunha coming down the inside now, the penultimate corner. Taking it wide, making his car as wide as he can, and that's P2 for him. Now he needs to close the gap to Charles Leclerc to get the DRS, and he's doing it. Good job by De Cunha to get his P1 maybe back as soon as he can. as Gasly, Albon, Castro, they're all fighting it. Chinchilla losing more places after spinning in turn 1. Castro and Gasly side by side. Castro around the outside, making it stick. More grip on the softer tyres. P5 for him. Mick and Hamilton in front of him. Sector 2, yellow flags. That's 2 cars. That's Eskimo and Albon, I think. And Castro's going down on Hamilton and Mick for P3. And now already attacking D'Cunha. D'Cunha must have made a mistake because he's now 1.4 behind Charles Leclerc. That was 9/10 at the beginning of lap 2. Castro can push so much harder on his soft tyres. Now he's just waiting for the DRS. He sees that D'Cunha doesn't have it on Leclerc, so it could be an easy move for him to have a great exit here. He has a great exit. DRS at work. Does he use ERS? Not yet. Maybe he wants to do it on the next straight. D'Cunha knows the game. He might break a little bit earlier, maybe. Yeah, Castro's staying here to get the DRS. Compromise D'Cunha's line. Now down the inside. More grip on the softs. DRS at play. Beautiful overtake. Harvey already up to P5. Coming after D'Cunha and Castro. Shermanator really close behind Mick here in sector 3 as Harvey is attacking Hamilton down the inside in the penultimate corner. They touch, but Harvey makes it through. P4 for him, 1.7 behind D'Cunha. Shermanator still pretty close behind Mick. Around the outside for him here, he's waiting. He wants to have the DRS on Mick again. Takes a wider line. Has the DRS now. Civilians with the fastest lap on mediums. He's pushing hard, but he's only P14. Something must have happened here to him. As Castro overtook Charles Leclerc now for P1. D'Cunha struggling on traction. Harvey getting closer to him. Both are on medium tyres. And Castro now needs to push really hard to get a gap between himself and the pack behind him, because he started on soft tyres. He needs to come in a little bit earlier maybe than D'Cunha and Harvey. So he needs to have a good gap to those two to make it work. Fastest lap for Castro, 107.2. D'Cunha feels Harvey's pressure. He's trying to go for the overtake on Charles Leclerc. They touch as Charles Leclerc hits D'Cunha's rear tyre, and now Harvey is coming with DRS and DRS, and he will wait behind D'Cunha. He will not overtake him now. He wants to have the DRS. D'Cunha not falling for the same thing against Castro, but Harvey with more traction out of turn 3. DRS still at work, and he overtook D'Cunha for P2. The gap to Castro is 2.9 seconds. Castro needs to keep pushing. And Harvey spins in sector 2. That looked so random. He broke his wing. He's on track now again, but ghosted of course. But that's a loss of multiple positions, more than 10 positions. And he's spinning again as he hits the curb. Hits the rear end. If he has rear wing damage, let's be honest, he's fucked. He's now in P17. I hate to say it, but that's best case scenario for Castro. Harvey will pit. He has damage to the front wing and maybe also to the rear. Oh yeah, he is sliding all over the place. That might be rear wing damage too. Horrible for Harvey, to be fair. Absolutely horrible. But Shermanator is focusing on Hamilton and P4 now. Bad thing for Harvey is he started on mediums, which means he has to finish the race on softs and has to hold for safety car. Shermanator right behind Hamilton. Wants to get him ASAP, but it's tricky in Sector 3. He needs to wait for the DRS to make it cleanly. But he probably wait. Or is he going for it right now? He's going for it right now. He's overtaking Hamilton into turn 1, but he won't have the DRS now. It's Hamilton with the DRS, and Shermanator needs to push on the ERS. He has enough, so he can do it, and the gap is big enough to make it work. And now he has 2 sectors to close the gap to Charles Leclerc to get into his DRS as quickly as he can. Seville's lost a position to Gasly, gaining it back now, and also gaining a position on Alonso. Good job when you lose 1 position and make up 2 within seconds. But Alonso and Gasly are fighting now, which is good for Seville's to create a gap between himself and those 2. And Shermanator is now attacking Charles Leclerc. The gap is down to 9/10 of a second. Lap 7 of 18. Castor's staying out right now. He's on soft tyres. De Cunha and P2 is on mediums. Charles Leclerc started on softs. Shermanator also on mediums. The alternate strategy now beautiful at work for De Cunha and Shermanator. Also for Frenzy in P6. Shermanator is now 4/10 behind Charles Leclerc. He's using DRS but no ERS, which means he doesn't want to attack him now. Maybe he's waiting for Charles Leclerc to pit to have clean air now. But he will lose a few tenths here in Sector 3 to De Cunha. The gap is already around 4 seconds. Frenzy overtook Hamilton for P5. Both Alfa Romeos in the top 5 now, aiming for a good points positions for each other and the team. And Charles Leclerc seems to be pitting now. He's on the inside line, indicating that he wants to pit. And Shermanator takes P3. Castor in the pits, Leclerc in the pits. Both on soft tyres. After 50% of the race, they're both coming in for fresh mediums now. De Cunha now in the lead again after starting in P1. Shermanator in P2, followed by his teammate Frenzy. And now it's tricky because Frenzy is a few tenths behind Shermanator, and they both want and need to pit this or the next lap. But whoever pits first has the undercut effect. Frenzy is not pushing, so maybe he's happy to stay out for another lap. But it seems like Shermanator is a little bit slower than Frenzy right now. The momentum is on Frenzy's side. So maybe Shermanator is struggling and coming in already, and Frenzy stays out for another one. But we'll see within the next few seconds because they're coming up to the pit lane entry. Shermanator stayed out, Frenzy too. So now it's overtaking time or pit time. But for Frenzy, it's definitely overtaking time. He needs to overtake Shermanator now to not lose any more tenths or seconds. And now he's using DRS and DRS. He's going for the move, clean one of course. His teammate is not fighting it, no need to. Shermanator probably happy to catch the DRS now and to make use of Frenzy's pace here, just to stay close enough behind him. But now Frenzy's in the position to dictate the pit stop strategy as he is the car ahead. And I think he might take the chance now to pit on lap 10 for soft tyres. Frenzy is not coming in. Shermanator also staying out. So the mediums still have a little bit of life in them. Alonso and Gasly still fighting pretty hard. Castro now with the fast lap. Oh, Shermanator almost with the spin. Caught it beautifully. And Castro, who has already pitted, is now in P5, 4/10 behind Sevillas. And he needs to overtake him to not lose any more time. But to be fair, he has the net lead right now. And it looks comfortable, but his tyres are much fresher than Sevillas' tyres. He's using ERS and DRS. But Sevillas probably... No, Sevillas not using anything. He's letting Castro basically go, but still they touch a bit. Castro takes P4, 2.7 behind Shermanator, around 7 seconds behind D'Cunha in the lead, who hasn't pitted yet. Castro almost losing the car here, but that could have been a glitch again. We don't trust that game anymore. And now Shermanator is coming in as Frenzy is still staying out. D'Cunha and Frenzy, both on mediums, still staying out. They're yet to pit. Castro with another fastest lap. P3 for him now. Eskimo on the hunt. He wants to get Mick by playing it safe here. There's a big DRS train. Starting with Chinchilla in P12. Followed by Albon, Stroll, Schumacher and Eskimos on the outside now. Braking later than Mick. Side by side. Overtaking him cleanly. He has the DRS now. No ERS at work. But Mick's too far behind now. And Harvey is attacking Mick now. Overtaking him for P16. Harvey is in P16 because he spun on lap 4, I think. Hit his wing. Needed to come into the pits. Change tires. 2 yellow flags. No, that's Harvey again. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's Harvey's race, to be fair. It's done. Is he moving? Yeah, very slowly. D'Cunha and Frenzy both in the pits now. Castro back into P1. D'Cunha on fresh softs, Frenzy on fresh softs. Where is Charles Leclerc and Shermanator? Shermanator overtaking Charles Leclerc now in the pits. No, not in the pits, on track. Oh my lord. But now Sevillas is coming after Shermanator. Both on soft tyres. Sevillas P4, Shermanator P5. They all stopped. And they're all on softs. Only Castro on mediums, but his gap is 16 seconds. From D'Cunha down to Shermanator, anything's possible. Hamilton and Leclerc fighting side by side. Hamilton taking P6 from Charlie. But that will be a great fight between D'Cunha, Frenzy, Sevillas and Shermanator for the podium positions. Harvey pitting again, of course. He needs to, after a bit of damage after his spin. He's probably on softs now, going for fastest laps. But he needs to be careful, because he has P2, P3, 4 and 5 all right behind him. The last thing you want to be is a fucking liability. But he's quick enough to warm up his tires now and to create a gap. Oh, he's spinning again. Oh, mate, this is not Harvey's race. This is not Harvey's race, to be fair. At least D'Cunha has clean air now and no ghost in front of him. But Frenzy's already in his DRS. Sevillas is pushing. Shermanator's in Sevillas' DRS. This will be a mad fight towards the last few laps. D'Cunha on 30% of ERS. Frenzy 44, Sevillas 11, 25 for Shermanator. So, advantage all of them but Sevillas. He's also the one who's not in the DRS of Frenzy. Everyone else is in each other's DRS. D'Cunha had a beautiful turn 1. creating a gap of another 2/10 between him and Frenzy. And Castro comfortably in the lead by 17.3 seconds. Sector 1 yellow flags, that is Eskimo. Exit of turn 1. But it's now starting to move again. So there will probably be green flags any moment. Yeah, it's green again. And it's now 2 laps to go for the top 5. D'Cunha leading that pack in front of Frenzy, Civilius and Shermanator. And Civilius, because he's low on ERS, no chance of getting close to Frenzy because he has DRS himself on D'Cunha. And the pace is good enough to not lose any time. So Civilius needs to focus on keeping P4. And you never know about potential penalties. But Frenzy had a great exit out of turn 3. Only 2/10 behind D'Cunha, who's on the inside now, defending from Frenzy. Frenzy taking a wider line to get a better exit. Oh, and he's there around the outside. D'Cunha on the inside for the next corner, but Frenzy has much more pace. Great exit for him. P2 for Frenzy with a masterpiece of an overtake. And now D'Cunha needs to stay behind him pretty close. There's 1 lap to go. Frenzy on 30% of ERS, but D'Cunha will have the DRS. Clean lap, DRS, and it could be P2 for D'Cunha. Last lap. Great turn 1 again for D'Cunha. DRS at work. Using all of his ERS now. And there is Eskimo, I think. And if Frenzy now gets the DRS because of Eskimo, then this deal is sealed. He doesn't have it. D'Cunha made a mistake in turn 3, and now Civilius is close. We're quickly jumping on board with Casto for the last 2 laps. For gaining another victory tonight. Here in Austria, P1 for Casto. No, that's a big fucking lie. He's on the last lap. Oh my lord. Shithousery as at best. And now Sevilla actually has a chance to catch D'Cunha. But he stays behind Eskimo to get the DRS. Oh my god, this is a lifeline. Eskimo out of the way now. Fair play. He lets everyone go. That is fair play. DRS for Civilius. He's pushing hard. The DRS is there. Is he going for it? Is he going for it now or the next turn? D'Cunha defending. Little push by Civilius. Another push. Oh, that's the DRS for Civilius, and that's P3. And now we jump on board with Casto for the last corner and his victory here in Austria. Second tonight, Bahrain and Austria. P1 for Casto. It got darker. 5 more laps and we maybe could have seen some rain. But it looks like Frenzy will cross the line in P2. 19 seconds behind Casto. P2 for Frenzy. Civilius coming down in P3. D'Cunha P4. P5 for Shermanator. And a little crashy crash for Eskimo. Charles Leclerc and Hamilton still fighting for position. But Charlie Leclerc will make it. P6 for him, P7 for Hamilton. Alonso dominated the position ahead of Gasly. That's P8 for him, P9 for someone else. Here's your podium. Here's your winner, Casto, with a P1 here in Austria, followed by Frenzy and Sevillas. They each made good moves on the last 2 laps to gain those positions on the podium. Some fake champagne for everyone. And here we have our final results. Casto in P1, followed by Frenzy and Sevillas completing the podium. Then De Cunha in P4, Shermanator P5. Then Leclerc, Hamilton, Alonso, Gasly, Verstappen, Chinchilla, Norris, Stroll, Albon, Mick, Eskimo, and Harvey, who got the fastest lap because he needed to pit 3 times and put on the soft tyres with a 105.2. which is more than a second quicker than everyone else, but fuel low, soft tyres, so no surprise here. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for watching, for tuning in, for staying on. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you have a great bank holiday tomorrow. Stay healthy, and until next week, cheers.